Hey Aquarius, what's up? We're here with the timeless reading. I hope that you're all doing well. We are starting off with the Lovers and King of Swords. I'm seeing Three of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. This is giving the vibe that you and somebody else, you guys are talking about something. You can be trying to figure something out, trying to work on something. Communication is a big thing here, so there can be a discussion. This feels more organized to me. Like there's a particular thing that's being discussed. There's a particular thing that's being talked about. It even is giving the feeling of like a teacher at the front of the room pointing at the whiteboard or pointing out at the chalkboard and like having the little pointer thing in their hand. That's the feeling that I get from this. So I wonder if there's like an organized discussion that you're having. Like this isn't just a leisurely conversation. It feels like something's actually being discussed. Something's actually being figured out. Something's actually being talked about. It feels like for a certain reason, for a specific reason. Like we're gonna go here, we're gonna do this. In every reading, I feel like the devil has been coming out in so many readings. So it's out here again. The devil is next to the sun, but this can mean a really big power up that's happening. I'm gonna clarify just to see what's the devil's business in this reading today. I'm seeing an Ace of Pentacles. Clarifying. So far, let's just read this as something physically materializing. Just for now, at least. There can be some sort of problem solving that's being discussed. The devil can also be something that one is going to like be engaged within or be very heavily involved within too. The devil is being clarified by Ace of Pentacles and also Page of Wands. What this means is that there is an opportunity, and also to having Ace of Pentacles feels like confirmation that something has materialized. One may need to be mindful of where they're stepping though. Because this is feeling like something is happening that one maybe wants. Okay. So the devil is coming out here. I'm seeing that this chapter feels like it is about maybe pacing things out. Because the devil to me is feeling like getting caught up in something too much too fast right now. And you may already be sort of like in that mode, having the sun next to it, because the sun can sort of like exacerbate the energy of the devil, like amplify it, like make it worse or make it more intense or make it more severe somehow, having the sun be next to there. So this can be something that's really amplified, something that's really charged up. This new chapter is about tempering things, I think, to make sure that you don't get caught up in the wrong stuff. That's not to say that something as a whole, there's an issue with it. Whole, like W-H-O-L-E. This is more so that something has the potential to go in a direction that would be unhelpful, and needing to make sure that you maintain something in the lanes and at the speed that it needs to go. Because there's something here that's popping up that you want and that you want to happen. And so there can be a discussion about making sure that something sort of stays where it's supposed to, in place, rather than being out of place. Making sure too that something is balanced for all parties involved. Because this looks like a current investment that's happening here. I wonder too if this is going to highlight something for you where it can be something that you become aware of that hadn't really been activated before, that is being activated now. You know, of it being time for this to be dealt with. And this just being part of something. Because the Sun card in this deck always feels to me like somebody sort of seeing a reflection of what their mission is, of something that they're taking on, of like, this is my crown to bear. And the Devil being there feels like that's just part of this right now. And so it's meant to be worked with. You don't need to shy away from it. You're going to see your strength within this as you work through it, but needing to make sure that this stays sort of in the front for you, rather than going somewhere and you not being aware of what's going on with the energy. Going somewhere that you can't see, you know? It's like keeping it center focus. Because the Devil can be a very mischievous energy as well. Balance. Prioritizing. This is definitely not an impossible path for you to walk upon. You just need to be mindful to keep it balanced. Which feels like something that you're ready for. I wonder too, for some of you, you can have two chapters that kind of parallel one another that are happening right now, and you can also have a particular new chapter that you are heartily involved within. Not hardly, but heartily with a T. So as you are stepping, you need to be mindful to make sure that you're tending to all of the stuff that you have going on. It's like if you're carrying something or like multiple things on a tray, you want to make sure that as you're walking, or say you're balancing two trays in your hands, you have stuff on this one, you have stuff on this one. You need to make sure that as you're walking, you're keeping both of these balanced so things don't topple over. You don't want this to topple over, you don't want that to topple over either. So how do you keep everything balanced as you move forward? This does feel fun. This does feel exciting. This does feel like there's enjoyment involved, like there's connection involved with Ace of Cups. If you are going to allow this thing in with everything else that you have going on, how do you maintain balance while you're also incorporating this, especially something that is high intensity, especially something that has the capacity to knock everything else out of your hands? So it feels almost like this new thing that you have going on, like this new chapter that you're opening, it has the potential to, instead of working and complementing everything that you have going on, to push everything else aside and become only about that one thing. And it feels like this is about maintaining everything else that you have going on while bringing this other thing on to what you have. It definitely feels like a relationship is part of this with Lovers and King of Swords. Relationships in general can be part of this. It's like you're being handed something that's kind of wily and you need to train the energy. Wow. I think you're getting to know yourself better. I think this is bringing up stuff emotionally for you as well. And it also feels like talking about stuff that maybe wasn't being spoken about before. Like things are being brought to light. This can involve feelings too. For a purpose, for a reason. Having both the moon and having the high priestess here, you can have some type of past with this person. You can have a deeper past than you're even aware of with this person. There can be past life stuff going on with you and them. On multiple levels. I do feel like stuff that was unspoken before is being spoken about with King of Swords connected with the moon and the lovers. Because Gemini is going to want to bring light to things. Like, let's talk about it. And the moon and high priestess can be things that one has been keeping to themselves for reasons of like protection, self-preservation. Like, why do I have to share that? You know, not wanting to be vulnerable. This can be a time where things are being discussed. But as I said before, the vibe that I got in the beginning of this, it's not just a leisurely conversation. There's a reason why this is happening. It's like to keep, there's an agenda here, and it's meant to keep things on track. So you're not pulled somewhere you don't want to be pulled. There can also be a feeling of like a fire growing within you as well, to have the devil be connected with Ace of Wands. And this is something that if you do not keep the fire burning where it's supposed to, it can turn into a wildfire and get very out of control with the Ace of Wands being connected with this, you know? This is like an unruly aspect of the spirit, and your passionate energy can very much be involved in this, and it is something that can get out of control. But it seems like King of Cups is showing up here to be the one that's tempering this. So I wonder if something needs to be tempered on more of a spiritual and emotional level, so it doesn't get out of hand in other ways. Because this feels too like this is also going to be an opportunity for King of Cups, which is that part of you that's going to be able to deal with all of the things that you're feeling and still be able to steer the ship where you're supposed to be steering it, like where you plan to steer it, and not get off route. And to make sure that you're taking time to take care of yourself. I think that this situation has a tendency to have you be worried about what's going to be happening, and that's why making sure that you're taking care of yourself mentally and also saying what you need to say, and also having conversations that you need to have, very important here. It feels like there's a mental and emotional balance here that's happening. And it also feels like there's a chapter that's being opened that feels a little bit like some unknown territory of where this is going to go. That's what's behind the moon. But it's not the only chapter that's being opened right now. So I wonder if there's going to be a coming to light here of what's taking place. Okay, let's put everything together. Yeah, something is an opportunity, and I'm not saying there be an issue with it. The issue is going to be if you don't move through it mindfully. Something can get out of control. And then it will feel like it's out of your hands at that point, and it doesn't have to be like that. Okay, the Lovers and the Moon, stuff from the past can be being brought up. Stuff about emotions can be being brought up. Stuff that wasn't known before can be being brought up. Unknown things that are being explored. Feelings can be being explored. This feels like it's happening within a connection for some of you. Multiple relationships are involved with this. King of Swords and the High Priestess can be entering into a space of thinking things through and conversating when necessary, and maneuvering through this mindfully while also knowing what to say and what not to say, what to keep to yourself and what to share. Vulnerable communication can also be part of this too, with King of Swords and like the Moon and High Priestess being involved. That's a very vulnerable position, and King of Swords is going to be you tossing this around, trying to figure things out, trying to understand things, wanting to talk about things. It looks like this is a discussion with you and another person. Having the Devil and having Ace of Wands, this can be fear involved with an opportunity that's starting. This can also be understanding the potential and, again, how something can move in a direction that you want it to move versus how something can get off track and be very difficult to put back on track, and there being an awareness around that. This can be really great, or this can go horribly wrong, it feels like. Having the Sun and having King of Cups, what can potentially come to light through this is you realizing how you do have control and how these things don't have to have control over you. You don't have to give your power away. That this is something that you can move through. It can be something that's very difficult to temper. It can be something that's very easy to get out of control. However, you know that ultimately you're the one that's deciding these things, that it's in your hands. And the part of you that is the King of Cups, I think that this is going to be very emotionally challenging for you. This can also be mentally challenging. When you have King of Swords and the Devil next to each other, it's about needing to cut through and see through any type of illusion, any type of fear, anything that's not really there, anything that would be leading you astray from not thinking correctly or seeing things properly, to how you are ultimately the one in the driver's seat here, and you get to choose what you do and what you express and what you don't express and where things go, the path that you sort of give permission for this to follow. Having Two of Pentacles and having Four of Swords is about making sure that you are staying balanced, remaining balanced, and also too that there is a making sure that you are, when you feel like your energy is being depleted, or you feel like you need to regulate, or you feel like you need to ground, that you're actually mindful of when you're getting those signals and signs and doing exactly that. So you are not really running yourself down. If you are in a cycle that is high intensity, so when you're on the field, it's very high intensity. If you're not ready to go on the field, you need to know when to be sitting on the bench and recover your energy. So when you go back in, you're at the level of handling that you need to be at. Because if you go in and you're not in the right shape to do this, the devil can really get the upper hand on this. And again, it's something that can get out of control in a way that you don't want. You wouldn't want that to be happening. And it doesn't need to at all. But it's kind of like playing with fire a little bit when the devil is involved. And also Ace of Wands says, like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to go through that door, but you can if you want to. And it doesn't have to get out of control. You can keep things in line, but you have to make sure that you're energetically in the place to check it if it starts getting out of line. And if you are not in the place to do that, you have to know. So it's more so, I feel like this is more about self-awareness than anything, that you're taking on something where you're really going to have to be aware. And if there is a part of you that you're going to get caught slipping if you're not there 100%, you know, if your focus isn't there. And so Ace of Cups, Nine of Swords, this is a new chapter that this can be something very beautiful. This can be something very intense and very amazing and very fantastic. Nine of Swords is the anxiety of what can unfold. And I think that you know before you officially get something started where this can go if you don't handle this properly. What can happen if you don't handle this properly? I'm not seeing you being encouraged to shy away from this unless you want to, but it's ultimately your choice if you want to open this door. This is something that you can accept and you can take this on and things can go great. But as I said before, if you are not really tuned into yourself and you're going on the field when you're not in the space to be going on the field, that's when things can happen that you don't want to be happening. That's when things can turn around in a way that you don't want them to turn. And so I think before really doing this, you have to ask yourself, like, are you prepared for this? Are you ready for it? And you can go into it confidently, because if you are really ready to be in the place to do this, everything's going to be just fine. But if you're not in the place to do this, it's knowing when to take a step back or when to even back down and like not open that door if you're not ready for it. And it's not like you should do it or you shouldn't do it. It's more so like self-assess and you figure it out what you want to do here. If this is something that you want to go for, there's potential for this to be incredible with Ace of Wands and Ace of Cups here. This is something that has potential to really foster things that you want within your life. Also too though, if you're going into it with the wrong mindset, you know, and the wrong space energetically, this is something that can cultivate things within your life that you don't want. So it's like ultimately about how you're stepping into this. And I think too that if you are being self-aware, like if you're in that place with yourself and you're being honest with yourself about this, you'll know whether to take this on or not. And also when to touch and go, because it will be a little bit like that. Basically, you're going to be, if you do open this door, you're going to be taking on a very intense energy. It's not more than you can handle by any means if you are in the right place to do that. Meaning, I'm not saying this be beyond your capacity, but if you're going into something and your battery is not charged, it's something that can really take over. And so you have to be like watching over that. You have to be mindful of that, okay, with this. You're not being discouraged from doing this, but you're also not being encouraged to do it. Like, it's just saying that this can be a great thing, but also too only if you're in the right place to do that. And you don't need to be worried about anything. It's not anything that you need to go into with like fear of what's gonna happen or anything like that. This can be something that's like really profound within your life, like something that is very colorful, is very vivid, and there's intensity behind that, and so it can be more difficult to get a handle on. It's kind of like a Bronco or something, you know? It's not like it gives me the feeling of you're basically going to be like riding on a horse that's not really broken in, and so it takes a lot of muscle, it takes a lot of strength, it takes a lot of vigor, a lot of determination, and it's not impossible. It's just, this isn't a broken in horse that you're going to be riding on, you know? It's going to be a different kind of ride than that if this is what you end up doing. And it's not that you can't do it, it's just be in the right place if you're going to do it and know what you're taking on if this is something that you're going to do. Chariot shows that you definitely have the capacity to be successful with whatever you choose. There will be difficulties within it, but it's nothing that you can't handle. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I'd like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.